Hello and welcome to another episode of Cinema Sandwich. I'm Jerry O'Keefe.
David Risner.
Matthew Van Groningen.
So today we're going to be talking about Wes Anderson's newest film, The Grand Budapest Hotel. But before we get into that movie, we're just going to do a quick, just kind of talk about Wes Anderson in general. So, for me, my introduction to Wes Anderson was with The Royal Tenenbaums, which, like a lot of his films, when I first saw it, I think I saw it shortly after, pretty much right when it came out on video. So I was still just getting into, watching movies for more than just entertainment purposes. And I didn't hate it, but I remember when I watched it, I had these expectations because Bill Murray was in it, so I was expecting some kind of wacky comedy like he would normally make. So I watched it. I liked it, but I was like, man, that was weird. I was like, this isn't the kind of comedy I expected with Bill Murray in it. And that's pretty much all I thought of it. But it was one of those movies that got in my head, and I just never, like, when I thought about it afterwards, it was almost funnier to me when I would just think of certain scenes. So then eventually I went back and watched it again and loved it when I watched it the second time. And then from that point on, I was a huge Wes Anderson fan, and most of his movies it's been kind of like that for me, except for, after I saw Tenenbaums, then I went back and saw Rushmore, watched Bottle Rocket, which I like Bottle Rocket, but for me at least, it's the least of all of his films. And then each new releases I've gone to see in the theater, I don't know what it is. Like, I try not to set expectations when I go into a Wes Anderson movie, but I come out of it kind of like, wow, that wasn't what I thought the story was going to be about or what I expected. And sometimes I've been a little disappointed until I go back and revisit the movie again. But across the board, I just watched all of his movies getting ready to see the Grand Budapest Hotel, and I love, like I said, except for Bottle Rocket, which I still like, I love pretty much every one of his movies. So even when I have some minor complaints, I still love all of his work.
Yeah, me too. He's a master at what he's doing. Like, there's no one like him. He's so unique in his style and everything.
Yeah, Jerry pretty much said exactly what I was going to say about Wes Anderson, and like pretty much almost nearly verbatim, because Royal Tenenbaums was the first movie that I saw too by Wes Anderson, and I watched it with family, and they had the same reaction you did the first time. They're like, "What? Like, that was so weird. That was not what we wanted," and I was just blown away by it. I think I saw it on video. I watched it rented, and I bought it immediately. I love it. It's still one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think when I watched it again with family, they loved it more, laughed more. But since then, yeah, I've gone back and looked at his other work, but Royal Tenenbaums still remains my top movie for him. But what's good about him too is he's doing what he's good at with his style, and it never goes into like a parody of himself. Like, like he has such a unique style that everyone knows now that he's made all these different movies, that he's not kind of like gone too far with it, like into like he's making like kind of a caricature of himself in his movies.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it seems like every movie of his that comes out, somebody at least accuses him of parody. I've heard it with this film. I think the closest he ever came for me was with The Life Aquatic. I kind of felt like that one was borderline. Like, I almost felt like things were put in there like it was just a Wes Anderson moment that got put in, but still not all the way. And I think he gets shortchanged because a lot of people just concentrate on the style of his movies. But what I love most about him is the relationship between the characters. I think the writing in all of his films is fantastic.
Yeah, it is, definitely.
And it really supports the style. If it was just style, I wouldn't feel about the movies the way that I do. Yeah, so I don't know what because I saw this. I didn't see this with either one of you guys. You guys saw it at the same time.
Yeah,
right?
we went and saw it together, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what your reaction was. Mine, I was really, like I said, along with most of his movies that I've seen in the theater when they were released, I was kind of off-put a little bit by this one. I knew that I liked it, but I couldn't really get a complete feel for it, and I couldn't really put my finger on it. I think I've kind of figured it out now because I went back and saw it a second time. I liked it a little bit better the second time. Some of the issues that were really bothering me weren't as intense the second time I saw it. So I felt that it was visually, I thought it was his most gorgeous film. I just thought it was beautiful.
I do too. I think this is in like a full, the full package of everything he's learned through all of his movies. Because there's little bits of stop motion, there's miniature work, there's everything he's done from other parts of movies and done so well in this movie. and it's the production design and all that is just superb.
Oh, his production design, costume design, and cinematography. I feel like he was given like full reign to just do whatever, and he went to town with what he could do with. Because even I read that he paid for top of the line makeup for Tilda Swinton to be the old woman. That because he's never had. I don't think this must be his highest budgeted movie. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's nice to see him kind of have his not restrained almost. But.
Yeah, her makeup rivaled Johnny Knoxville's in Bad Grandpa.
She
really
looks
good.
great as an old woman. She's so just ridiculous.
And she's always good, but the way she played it was fantastic. Like I don't think anybody, if you didn't know that was Tilda Swinton going in, I don't think you would guess it was her ever.
Yeah, at first glance, I didn't recognize her, and I had known beforehand though that she plays an old woman because I had catch the Charlie Rose interview, and he talked about making her an old woman and all this stuff.
I really like this movie, but for me, it kind of I'll have to see it again, like Jerry did. But for me, right now, it kind of falls in the middle of his filmography. Like it's not my favorite movie by his, because I've seen some people be like this, even though like we were saying, this is like it seems like the most he's ever had to work with in terms of just everything. It's not like I don't think it's the top of his best work, but it's not like Bottle Rocket. Like it's not, even though it's as good as like Life Aquatic, Bottle Rocket, and all those are, I don't think it's as below as those movies are. I feel like it's right in the middle for me, and like right in the happy medium between like my favorite works of his and lesser favorites. So I don't know how anyone else felt about that.
That's pretty much where I've got it. I think because I ranked his movies as I went along, and I think I've got it at number 4. So I've got it under Tenenbaum's Rushmore and Moonlight Kingdom. And like I said, most of it, he's usually accused of only being style, which I don't think is fair, but this is the one movie where it was the style that really pushed it up my list, because I think it's one of the weakest films of his as far as how characters are developed. And that's the one thing I really struggled with the first time I saw it. And like I said, it wasn't as pronounced the second time I saw it, but I really, with Saoirse Ronan, her character I really thought was shortchanged the first time I saw it.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And I didn't like how, I understand that the character of Zero Mustafa, he didn't want to talk about her when he started telling the story to Jude Law. And then when he has to get into it, he's just like, oh, on our third date we were engaged. And I remember I was sitting there, I'm like, oh, that's right, she's in this movie. I'm like, oh, wait, they're already engaged? I'm like, well, what's going on? It just seemed like too much of a rush to me. And I also thought that Adrian Brody's character was shortchanged. It was really pronounced to me the first time I saw it. I don't think that so much anymore. There's some other things I didn't like about his character, but overall, it's just the film to me had more of a cold feeling when it came to how characters were handled. Where a lot of his previous films, there was a real, characters went through a definite growth through the length of the film, and towards the end they were different people, or there was some nice touching moments at the ends of his films where people had buried the hatchet and kind of patched things up, and you didn't really get this. And even some important moments just seem to happen, like, oh, this is, they just kind of say it, yeah, this is what happened to that character. And it's like, shouldn't you have kind of shown that or gone into it a little more? So that's kind of how I feel about it. I love the style. I like the performances, but the way the characters were written, I just thought was colder than his previous work.
I could see that, yeah, definitely. For me, I don't know where the movie ranks. I can't really rank any of his movies because they're all so unique. And I really did enjoy this film. I thought it's just a fun caper. Like, it's fun to be in that world and go places with those people and see the things they see. Yeah, there's definitely the same with all of them.
And there's more going on in this movie than any of his movies.
It's like full pace from the beginning. Like it's tons of like just next. It keeps going. It doesn't really slow down to take a breath. But it's tons of fun, and I really enjoyed it. I think Moonrise has probably been my most favorite film. I really do like Life Aquatic a lot, too. I have trouble ranking him because I do love every single movie for different reasons from him.
You definitely need to see Fantastic Mr. Fox.
That and Bottle Rocket are the only two I haven't seen by him, so.
Well, Jerry thought Adrian Brody was kind of shortchanged, and yeah, I can see that for the most part, but Adrian Brody's been such like on a slump, I feel like, in his career. Like he's so good in The Pianist, and he hasn't really done like anything good. I mean, like The Jacket, maybe. Did anyone see The Jacket?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I thought he was really good in the Darjeeling Limited.
That's true. Yes, I forget about the Darjeeling Limited, but anyway, I've actually, it was nice. I thought to see him in this movie. I actually thought he put in a better performance than I've seen in the last couple of movies he's been in, and it was fun to see him play kind of an over the top villain. And I actually really I loved, even though he's kind of a side character with no real dialogue. I loved Willem Dafoe in this movie. I thought he was perfect in this film.
He is so funny.
And I wasn't expecting that too, because he kind of seems like he'd be a one note, just kind of like Willem Dafoe just looks scary all the time. But like I actually thought like they did a cool variation on that kind of character in this movie. But it's strange because like Jay was talking about, you said how you didn't really get that in this. I agree with what you said, how like there's not really that growth in the main character, and I felt that too when I first saw that. That was like one of the main things I thought about. And like I was thinking about his other movies, and we talked about how amazing Ray Fiennes is in this movie as Gustav.
Yeah, I think it's the best performance in a Wes Anderson film since Gene Hackman. I think he was just amazing.
And I agree. And
I'd have to agree too. Yeah,
I was thinking about that, and all his movies kind of have that main character like Gustav, where they're kind of like they're likable, but they're kind of a overconfident asshole almost. Gene Hackman's like that in Royal Tenenbaums. Even the Fox in Fantastic Mr. Fox is like that. Max Fisher's like that in Rushmore, and like he always has that kind of character who is still pretty much the same at the end of it. Like Gustav H at the end of this movie is still kind of the same character, but he shows a little bit of growth. But like I don't know, I agree. I didn't feel like it was. What actually didn't work more for me was he also has that character has kind of like a strong relationship in all his movies with another character. And I actually didn't care. I thought the weakest part of it was his relationship with Zero. I don't know if anyone else thought that, but that's how I thought their relationship didn't click for me like I was hoping it for.
Yeah, they really didn't take the time to develop it. Like they did have one good scene when Gustav got out of prison. I thought that was a good scene between the two of them.
Yeah.
But other than that, like Dave said, it was kind of go, go, go.
It was all caper.
Yeah,
and
there really wasn't time to stop and do that, which it's fine. I mean, I guess every movie he makes doesn't have to be exactly the same. And the other thing I wanted to point out, and maybe you feel this way too, you know, I'm saying it's in the middle, but this is in the middle of a list of films that when I rate them on Letterboxd, you know, I got Bottle Rocket at a 3. Everything else is a 4 and above. So
yeah,
we're talking about
none of his movies are bad
films, right?
Yeah.
This one really felt like, to me, I almost feel like he's starting to get into a different phase in his career, which I think maybe is a good thing. Like I miss that character development and the relationships. Maybe he's starting to go off into something a little different, because Moonlight Kingdom I felt started along those lines, and here it was really pronounced to me because I noticed I really watched for it the second time, and I don't remember seeing it, but I don't think he did his signature slow-mo shots towards the end of the film.
He always has those characters like walking towards camera in slow-mo.
Yeah, that was gone. The relationships usually are a huge part of his films. That really wasn't in this one. But again, I
think the Gustav Zero relationship was supposed to be that. It just got, I think that got shortchanged, like we were saying.
Yeah, I kind of felt, this might sound kind of weird, and I hate to play, and usually with a Wes Anderson film, I don't even consider doing this, but you know, when you see a bad film, it's easy to sit there and play armchair director or script writer and say, this is what they should have done differently. But I almost felt like Adrian Brody and Willem Dafoe's characters should have been one person, because Adrian Brody just felt to me like he was superfluous. Like he was in the movie, but he wasn't very interesting to me. And you know, I kept thinking, I'm like, man, this character should have been so much more interesting, because it was it's the son of the woman who died, and they're trying to figure out if he had something to do with her death. And like, what if they just had it be one person and he was this creepy son character? I don't know. To me, it felt like it would have worked more. But
see, well, that's what it's not really a problem, but the thing I think might have benefited is all his movies have fantastic casts, and this is undoubtedly like his biggest cast ever in a movie. And I feel like it was almost too much, that he was trying to give too much face time to too many of his key players. And I feel like he could have just toned that down to a more central. Like, I mean, did Harvey Keitel need to be in this? I don't know. Not really.
Why not?
I guess so. I mean, if you can get Harvey Keitel.
Owen Wilson has
yeah,
40 seconds of screen time.
Jason Schwartzman is in it for like 2 minutes.
He leans in a couple shots just to get a little extra screen time so he can get more SAG pay.
That was one of my biggest laughs, actually, when he's
like always trying to listen in. It's really funny.
I felt that way. That's a really good point, though, Matt, because I felt that way about Edward Norton, actually. He worked so well in Moonlight Kingdom.
Yeah.
And I felt like here I felt that was almost the same character. Like he was acting the exact same way. And to me, it was distracting. It was the first time in a Wes Anderson movie I was like, man, he just doesn't seem to really fit into this film.
It's like the European brother of the guy from Moonrise.
Yeah, exactly.
But even, I mean, I love that scene. I think me and Jay were talking about how great that one scene is with Willem Dafoe and Jeff Goldblum. But,
when he's stalking him through the museum.
That was so funny, yeah.
But I even thought Jeff Goldblum was kind of superfluous in this movie. I don't know.
Except he delivers a killer line about a cat. That was so funny.
That was my biggest laugh in the movie. But I don't know. I felt like it was great to see all these people on screen, but he just couldn't give a great relationship, like a great character payoff and relationship, and he has in his other movies with trying to give face time to all these like famous other actors.
So are you saying this is the Ocean's 11 of Wes Anderson films?
Kind of is.
It kind of is, yes, because it's like a caper and it's just like a superstar cast playing even little roles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I do think the scenes with Jude Law and F. Murray Abraham probably had the most heartfelt feel to them.
I didn't even know Jude Law was in the film until the movie came on. I was like, oh, Joe, all right, cool.
Yeah, I just remember seeing him real quick because the trailer too is showing all these people. Just bam, 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 bam,
you don't even have time. You don't even have time to read them in the trailer. They're going by so quick.
But yeah, that was also interesting too. I was trying to think about that, and tell me what you think about this. Is because the movie, the whole like Gustav and Zero story, is actually being told in flashback. It's told a flashback from F. Murray Abraham to Jude Law, and Jude Law's recounting being told by F. Murray Abraham as an older Tom Wilkinson, and Tom Wilkinson recounting that is being read by a girl in the park in the beginning of the movie. So I didn't know what he was. I didn't know like what was the
was the story told through like. Where does the book start? That's what I was confused. Like, where does the book actually tell the story from? Whose point of view is it telling from? It doesn't matter. I mean, that's
in the beginning. She places like a key or something on a statue of Tom Wilkinson as the author. So it's got to be from his perspective, but it's being read like it's a book from this girl's perspective.
Yeah, and then the whole point of his book was that great writers get their stories from real people. So he was recounting what. The story he had been told by Zero, or from Zero.
Well, because he dedicates this movie to like an author at the end of it, like a author.
Yeah, that's right. That inspired him to make this.
So I think that was
because in Charlie Rose's interview, he talks about this guy who's kind of been a forgotten author, but has started to gain some steam again as like an adventure writer or something from Europe or something like that.
Yeah. And going back to that scene with Jeff Goldblum, without giving anything away either, it struck me his movies have been known for having moments of violence in them, but I thought he almost perfected that in this one. There were some really shocking moments where the audience was kind of like, "Oh, what just happened?"
There's a in the movie, and they which confused me when it happened because I was like, "Oh my gosh, they got someone else," but it wasn't who I thought it was or whatever.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was little tricks. It was fun.
I kind of like that because it's this, it's a comedy, but you have these moments of violence and it's not like gory violence. It's just like a violent act that happens really fast and catches you off guard. But I thought it was good.
Willem Dafoe's quite the skier. I'm just saying that.
He is. Yeah, I love the scene like that. You can see it in the trailer, like the ski scene. Like the whole movie kind of reminded me of like kind of like almost like an adventure film, like a silent film. Like, I don't know, something you'd see from more like turn of the century that kind of played more with like old Hollywood tricks, like you were saying, like miniatures and, and stop motion, stuff like that. And I felt like I liked that it was, they did the 4:3 format, and they kind of did this like old Hollywood kind of like,
they jumped around like formats for the time period, right? Is that kind of, because like they went from like during the whatever 1940s or something. What is that? 1950.
Well, Tom Wilkinson is supposed to be like 1985, 1987. I think.
Okay, and so he's in widescreen because you'd have widescreen. Then you go back to 166 or something. I can't remember what format they would have been then.
Yeah, that was the 60s with Jude Law and Marie Abraham. Yeah, that was supposed to be the 60s, I think.
So it's probably like 166 or something. And then you go back, or 185 maybe for that time period. I don't know. And then you go back to the 4:3 or the 133.
I thought that was
which was great.
Idea.
It was fun. Yeah. You don't see people do that. So I've never seen it done before that way. I mean, I've seen it done in like, TV shows for like, I don't know, where commercials where they crop the commercial for a sports car or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Or if you take a film like one of the Batman, Christopher Nolan Batman movies where they film specific scenes in IMAX, so then the aspect ratio changes on you. But yeah, I agree. I haven't seen it used in this effect before, and I did like it.
It wasn't jarring at all, because if you watch an IMAX movie, sometimes you noticeably can see
because the quality between IMAX, especially,
you can sometimes see kind of the bars like slowly disappear. I don't know, but. I don't know. I really liked it. I don't know if anyone else got that vibe from it, but that's what I was feeling like the whole movie, like this kind of, I don't know, not even far back as Charlie Chaplin, but that kind of like Buster Keaton, like kind of 20s and 30s, just kind of like madcap, like fun.
Like, totally. Old Hollywood, kind of these quirky, weird. I don't know when I say like Harold Lloyd or anything, but a little bit of like a Chaplin, Harold Lloyd maybe type of thing.
Yeah, I can see that. Because
I would love to, when they would show like wide landscapes, you'd see like little silhouettes and figures like run in the background, and like, I don't know, and the whole thing too, when they were going on the mountains on the
lifts or whatever.
Like, it's so cheesy looking, but like, I don't know, it just works. Like, it works in the spirit of that movie, and it adds so much to the charm of this movie.
That's the use of using miniatures again, and a little bit of stop motion that he's learned through all of his movies and used them all here. Which is cool.
There's even matte paintings and stuff.
There's some matte.
Like, and it's funny that people are like loving this movie so much, because it's using so many old Hollywood tricks that were just becoming obsolete in movies too, and it's fun to see those. Like, it's refreshing to see those after seeing so much CG and stuff like that on screen. Like,
definitely, because it's easy for Weta to go make you miles and miles of landscape.
It's just it's like, even though this was like a new movie, it was like revisiting like a old classic. Like, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think that, again, that touches on what I liked most about it, was the style aspect of it. Something else I noticed, I was curious to know if you guys have caught on to this, because it really stood out to me as I went through every one of his films. But I think he uses swearing to great effect, like more than any director that I know, because I'm not, I don't automatically giggle every time I just hear somebody swear, but so often in his movies, it's like one of the biggest laughs for me is when someone uses a swear word just at the perfect time. And Ralph Fiennes was doing that all over the place in this film. He just knows exactly when to put a swear word in where it really accents the dialogue that's happening.
And it's not gratuitous at all either. I mean, I watched I forgot, but I watched like just recently like a terrible action like modern movie, and it's just F word like in every sentence, just to kind of amplify the dialogue. And it like in this movie, like it knows exactly where to place it, and like Wes Anderson knows like exactly what you're saying, like how to use it to its full effect, because hearing it so often, it just becomes like draining almost, like it loses all its value. Like, I mean, that's wrong with most comedies is how much they use it. Like, you hated This Is the End. Like, it gets tiring to hear the F-bomb dropped that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when it's done just because they think it's funny to put a swear word in, you know, it doesn't work. It's funny if it's used in the right context and with the delivery, which, again, Ray Fiennes was just on top of his game. And it also accented his character perfectly because on one hand, he puts on this face of being this very, this charming character, but then he'll turn and turn to talk to someone who works for him, and you get this real hints of, he's probably not the nicest guy if you do something wrong at the hotel.
And it's weird too because I remember seeing this movie as rated R. I'm like, that's weird. Like, this movie doesn't look like a rated R movie at all. I'm like, what are they gonna do? Like, it looks like in the 1930s, like it's different time periods. Like, why? Like, how are they gonna justify like all that swearing and like you said, like the little moments of violence, the little moments of swearing, like are just used in perfection and just like don't make it feel like it's. I feel like it could be watched still by like a family.
Oh, this movie's easily PG-13 nowadays. Except I think the MPAA was like, oh, a nude painting of a woman touching another woman's vagina. We got to make it an R. Or like, there's a couple naked older women. I think when they show a montage of the women he's been with, maybe.
Yes.
And maybe that's what upset the MPAA. But it's nothing like that's. I don't know. I haven't seen Savages, but I'm going to guess that there's probably some heavy violence and big guns in that movie. And in today's world, it's like, oh, that's okay. Someone dies multiple times, no big deal. But a little bit of nudity and people get upset.
Or you kill hundreds of thousands of people off screen, like Man of Steel. That's fine. You get PG-13.
Mm-hmm. Mass genocide's totally fine.
Yeah, if you say fuck, a couple times, or actually if two people have sex in a way that's not exploitive, you get slapped with a rated R.
It's true. I mean, we won't get into discussion about the MPAA, but they, if you read about it, they're way more lenient about nudity on screen in Europe and much more aggressive about movies with like excessive violence. Like a lot more, like the rating system is a lot like flipped around in European countries.
Yeah, with this film too, I'm curious to see how my opinion of it changes over the years, because I had this feeling, I'm big on ranking things and giving them their ratings and that, but I had this feeling, I'm like, this could be something that grows on me over time. I don't feel that about his other films. Like, I really, as I went through all of them, I watched them, I was like, okay, this is exactly how I feel about this one, and Royal Tenenbaums will always be at the top, but this one, for whatever reason, I'm just curious. I have this feeling I could become more fond of it as years go by and I watch it more times.
There's also something about this movie I wanted to bring up is that no one's really been saying it either. Is I think it has an exceptional score from Alexander
Desplat, or I don't know how
Desplat.
Yeah.
I mean, Wes Anderson's known for having great uses of rock song, like classic rock songs, and there's no music like that in this movie. It's all score. But I've been listening to it a lot. I think it's great because usually his movies are known for like excellent timing of older songs. Like Royal Tenenbaums has an amazing soundtrack. Rushmore has an amazing soundtrack. Even Darjeeling Limited has one, and I love the score for this movie. It helped the pace. It helped everything. I don't know. I highly recommend giving it a listen.
Yeah, I agree. It was very good.
Yeah, I think that's what threw me off a little bit too. But it wouldn't have worked. Like if he had put the rock songs in there,
it would have went way too.
No, yeah, it would have only been like Jude Law's time period. That's the only part that could have used rock music.
Yeah.
But still, I just wanted to give him some credit because he's like slowly becoming one of my favorite composers. He's just
man's a beast.
I know.
Tree of Life. Right? He did. Yeah, he did the other stuff on that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the montage of the different hotel concierge?
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious.
Oh yeah, of all the concierges, the whatever it was, the secret,
the cross keys.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, who was it? Bill Murray.
Owen Wilson was one of them, right?
Yeah, Bob Balaban.
I can't remember all of them. I feel like there was someone else famous in there.
Fisher Stevens.
That's right, Fisher Stevens. Yes, I was like, oh, Fisher Stevens. Haven't seen him since Hackers.
Yeah.
Which I think that's as close as he came to one of those. That was another thing that was kind of missing. He always has like a montage or two. And that came close, but it wasn't. Usually it's much more of quick edits than that scene was. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see where he goes from here because I think he is kind of branching into.
Big action franchise, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be doing the next the reboot of Spider-Man. Is it time? I don't know.
No, they got
another 8 movies with Andrew Garfield coming out.
Oh my god,
He's got a 10-picture deal.
I think. Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
I'm sick of those.
I'm sick of superheroes.
Well, it's nice. It was real refreshing to see a movie like this after some abysmal couple of opening months of 2014.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Oh, it was rough, man. Now I've seen 2 really good movies this year, and that's it. One of them was Grand Budapest Hotel, but until then, I had seen some that were good, almost really good, I would say, but nothing that really grabbed my attention and was like, yeah, this will be competing at the end of the year for top 10. But I think Grand Budapest will be way up there on my list.
Yeah, I don't know if
Well, it's too early to tell. You can't be basing your top 10 already. You don't even know any of the Oscar contenders yet.
Yeah, I just think it definitely has the possibility to be there.
No, it definitely does, yeah. For me, too. It'll definitely be in the running.
And maybe last year I watched a lot of movies, but I didn't get really rolling until summer. So maybe I would have gone through the same thing because I know January and February are just terrible because
they're awful.
They dump bad movies there, and most people are worrying about the Oscars. And then some screens are taken up by great films from 2013 because they want everyone to see the Oscar-nominated films, which I think we had already seen most of those. So it was desolate.
Slim
Yeah,
pickings.
I wonder the strategy for the release of this film. Why so early in the year like this? It couldn't be for it can't be in the Oscars, obviously. So
yeah,
I mean, it'll be for next ones if it even is in the running. People will forget about it probably by then. But yeah. I don't get the release schedule for that.
I'm surprised because Moonrise Kingdom got a summer release, and I think he got a screenplay nomination for it. So I'm surprised they didn't do a strategy like that because I feel like this would be a perfect counter programming for big summer blockbusters. So I mean, I'm happy I got to see it now because there's just dreadful movies out. But but I feel like this movie could have had the same. I mean, it's making good money, but I feel like it could have had the same.
Yeah, there's no reported production budget on it, but its domestic is only at $26 million.
Really?
Worldwide is $71 million. So
wow,
it's
surprising. Way more than I thought.
Surprising. I actually thought the domestic would be higher.
Yeah, because
surprisingly low for me. In
both
my
times I've seen it, the theater was full. Actually,
yeah.
Well, it's in. I mean, it was in limited release, and now it's rolled out more. But I mean, if you think about it,
it's true.
Most wide release movies get like 2,000, 3,000 screens.
Yeah.
I think this movie only has probably a couple hundred, maybe.
I think it'll tell us here on Box Office Mojo somewhere. But yeah, we had seen it. We had seen it when it was only in 2 or 3 theaters in Chicagoland at the time.
Yeah.
So
I would love to revisit this once it's on Blu-ray.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, for sure.
I wonder if it'll go. Pretty much all his movies are on Criterion now, so maybe it might even go straight to Criterion Collection.
That'd be cool. Who's the production company? Or Fox Searchlight?
Fox Searchlight, yeah.
They might want to own those rights. Who knows how that goes?
Well, because Fantastic Mr. Fox was out on its own for a while and before it got picked up, so who knows? Maybe in the future.
Yeah, he's definitely a director, though, that'll get a box set when he's a lot older through Criterion or something with a whole bunch of nice remastered films. Mm-hmm. Even though they look great already, they'll remaster them again, and they'll probably be in 12K or whatever's popular at the time.
Yeah, I would definitely say if you're a fan of Wes Anderson's work, I would be shocked if someone saw this and didn't like it. Now, somebody who hasn't really watched all of his films, that I could understand if they were like, oh, it was kind of weird and too stylized.
I don't know how you could hate it, though. It's enjoyable, even
if you're unfamiliar with the style.
Right.
It's just fun. It's fun to do, to travel with those characters, to go on the adventure they're on.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know if you guys have anything else you wanted to bring up about it. But
go see it. Support Grand Budapest.
Definitely.
All right, so yeah, that's our thoughts on the Grand Budapest Hotel. It's like I think we just mentioned, it's definitely spreading out to more theaters. So I know it's showing here in Joliet now. I think it just opened here last weekend, so it should be pretty much everywhere. Definitely worth checking out if you're wanting to see something. You know, if you're not already a Wes Anderson fan, I think it's a good entry point.
Yeah, and a great alternative to the rest of the stuff that's out right now, because now
sure.
we're getting into summer blockbuster territory. So do yourself a favor, see this while you can.
There's some good ones coming out. I'm actually kind of excited though about some of the blockbustery films coming out.
They're so easy to let you down, though.
This is true.
I'm not excited about any of them, I don't think.
Are you excited about anything anymore?
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's it. Thanks for listening.
Yep. See it.
Check us out on Facebook, Twitter,
Instagram now.
MySpace, IRC chat rooms, maybe. I don't know. Are we on those things?
Snapchat.
I don't know what we'd ever Snapchat.
Yeah, definitely to go to our website, cinemasandwich.net. You can check out Jerry did a great retrospective of all of the Wes Anderson movies, so definitely check that out too.
And thanks for remembering. You know, you'd think I would have brought that up since I wrote it, but since I have the memory of a 90-year-old man, I totally forgot I wrote it.
All right.
Yeah.
Adios.
See ya.
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 Adios.